Bang, bang. That's not a thing. That's not Atlantic Ocean time. It's just Atlantic time. By the way, Ray, they cannot hear you. They can hear Mike and I, but they cannot hear you.
Just
Talking
unmute
to your other
yourself.
mic.
Unmute yourself on your phone.
Yeah.
But now I have to hear myself, and that's I understand how this is happening now. I understand. You see, but that's my point. My point is, we haven't done one of these in so long. I had to go out back. I had to go make some sort of sacrifice to my broadband company. I had to wash the blood off my hands, and now we're here. Rod Helms Jr., our resident expert for running Aces Casino and Racetrack. Rod, I introduced you with that title lightly, but the second race that starts the sequence is a non-winner, or not number two. It's a 2-year-old Philly pace event for $11,000. And for me, there were 3 horses that made sense to use here. But interestingly enough, there's an even money favorite. Is she that decisive a choice here?
I don't think so. You know, the 6, who you're talking about, it's Pacific time, comes in off 2 straight wins, is racing extremely well, but seems to only be good on the front end. And raced at Aces 3 starts back, and again similar, maybe a little bit tougher, but you know, really didn't have any pop in that race. Just kind of paced along, sat in the back, and just went around basically. I'm not a huge fan, especially at a very short price. So I'm going to try to beat her with one other horse here. The 4 Fancy Skeeter has faced the top 2-year-olds between both fillies and colts for basically the entire season. All 6 starts, this horse has been in against the top 2-year-olds and has been right there at the wire. Now gets in against strictly fillies. I think this is a spot this horse can win. And, you know, she likes to work out trips. I don't know that she's even going to need one tonight against this group of horses because this is a much softer group than she has been facing. So I really like her chances at decent odds. So I'm going 4-6 in the pick 4.
Now, Mike, do you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, see, I'm 4 deep in the race. I do agree on the 4, Rod, but if you like the 4, I'm not sure how you can't like the 5, who's basically danced every dance the same, you know, as the 4. Now, doesn't necessarily have the checks that the 4 does, but, you know, it's trying in those races and finishing up. Kicked 29-1 last time. That was probably this horse's best race. And, you know, I feel like you said, in against these types, I think this horse has a bigger chance, and you're going to get a fair enough price to use. The 6 is a use, 5 of 7 life, but all those wins are coming on those half-mile tracks, and that Aces race really gives cause for pause. And then I'm going to throw in the 7, The Greatest Love. This horse was outside a long way last time, first up, and then got tired, but gets a driver switch here, has 3 lifetime wins, and in a wide open spot against a favorite that is a bit marginal. I think this horse can start the pick 4 at a huge number. So I'm 4, 5, 6, 7.
I get rid of the 7 and use the 4, 5, and 6. It's an interesting approach, though, Mike. I understand off 2 of those last 3 miles, the fact that they tried to put her into the race going first over definitely could make her an outside contender. However, for cost purposes on my ticket, I stick with the 4, 5, and 6. The 4 and the 5 definitely have a post advantage on the probable favorite in this race, as well as the long shot factor in the 7. The greatest is love, and nothing but. But I also agree that it's Pacific time, potentially beatable here off of that Aces line back on July 23rd that is lackluster at best, but the horse has undoubtedly raced well over circuits, which sometimes translates well to the parimutuel aspect of these races, sometimes it does not. But 4, 5, 6 for me to open up the pick 4. Second leg is race 3, Rod. 2-year-old Colton Gelding Trotters. How do you beat Trotterlicious?
Oh, easily. You beat him with the horse that beat him last week.
Really?
Heard You Whisper My Name, the 1A.
That's it?
Yeah, this horse went won by 7 lengths against Trotterlicious. That was 2 starts ago for this horse, and Trotterlicious's last start. I really like this horse. I think he's a very, very nice horse. Comes back from the fair up in Upper Peninsula, Michigan, where he finished second there. But I'm using both the 1 and 1A, Black Buck and Heard You Whisper My Name, and Trotterlicious, who's a 3. So I think both the entry, the Black Buck, I think is you're just getting him with Heard You Whisper My Name, and Trotterlicious. Between Heard You Whisper My Name and Trotterlicious, those 2 are going to battle it out.
Yeah, right. I was going to say, you can't choose which end of the entry you want to bet. You get both of them, no matter if you want them or not.
I can do whatever I want.
Well, Mike,
So this is America.
Are you on the side? Get him out of here. Get him out of here. Come on. Punch him if you want to, Mike.
America.
Yeah, I have no argument. I think, I would say 99% of these pick 4 tickets are going to go through the 1 and the 3. The 3 has an excuse last time, a broken equipment on the last turn, and then, faltered. Now gets Lasix, which is a little curious. But, the 1A, that I would say the only issue with that one is tends to really not get away all that well early. And that, puts it as a disadvantage. And the sloppy track, too, tonight could cause some issues, too, for some of these. But I'm 1-3.
I'm sticking solely with Trotterlicious. I'm presuming that without the broken equipment, he probably races better than finishing second by 7 lengths. And the fact that this horse has raced well over the circuit prior to that start and has beat Heard You Whisper My Name in the past seems like the surefire way to take, at least to make this a much cheaper ticket. I'm going to single Trotterlicious and hope to try and get some sort of price out of maybe one of these next few races, like race 4. We got condition claimers, not winners of 2, but no more than 3. None of these can have won more than 3. If they have, we will have to report them to the proper authorities and then let the justice system take its course. Rod, I was 3 deep in this race, and one of the contenders you had scratched.
Yeah, scratched the 5 Tiaga in this 4th race. But outside of Joker John, I don't have a big opinion in this race. Joker John kind of looks like the horse to beat is going to be the likely favorite here. I just don't see anything that pops off the screen to me in this race. Anything can win from any spot on the track. I think the trip is going to be key for anything in here to be able to win. But if you're looking for a decent price play in the race, my Muddy Buddy made a break last week. He came back. He actually raced very well after that break. I'm expecting that horse to be much better, closer to what we saw 2 starts ago. So if he gets back to that, then I think he's got a shot at a decent price. But I just hit the all button here. It's a crapshoot race.
But Mike, what are you to do if one cannot pump their nickel?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm 3 deep in the race. I do not like the 4 at all. I'm surprised, Rod. You think this horse is going to be the favorite, or what? You know, the night this horse won on July 7th, that was the night where all the craziness was occurring, and this horse was 30-1 and 1. Ever since then, the horse hasn't really been that good. You know, I did have an outside post last time, but I mean, I don't know. I don't like him. I'm not using that one. I'm going to use the 1 Fear Factor. Raced better last time. You know, made up lengths in the stretch at a big number from an inside post, draws inside again, and should be closer early. I think this horse, you know, if closer early, should get an earlier jump on this field. And the 2 is likely going to be faltering again in the stretch. That horse has been terrible lately. I don't want that one. Agree on the 3. My Muddy Buddy was bet to under $2. Last time made a break at the gate. Really had no chance whatsoever. But 2 back beat horses just like this from the 7 post. If this horse stays flat, has a good chance. And then the 7, Lilac Lori. This horse was racing at Hawthorne and 4 claimers. You know, that can't be any worse than these horses, to be honest with you. So, you know, and the horse is getting checks. I would expect them to try 1-3-7.
I agree on Fear Factor to the inside, especially if this horse gets ignored on the board, like the morning line perhaps implied. 2 starts back, raced real well off cover. Last out, raced well off a pylon trip despite going off at high odds. So maybe they try to put this horse into play much more this time around. Even though I look back at the other races where he's had post 1 and the horse has not been put into play, I for some reason think that might be able to change this time around since this is his 3rd start against weaker competition. We're all in agreement, though, that My Muddy Buddy is a horse to beat. When dropping down in class last out, made a break at the start as the favorite, finished 6th there as a result. Now, the sloppy track could be a bit troubling for this one if he continues to have those sorts of gate issues, but if for some miraculous reason he may be able to traverse the slop fine, expect him to be up towards the top and trying to hold on. Emphasis on the trying part. And then Joker John can probably work out some sort of trip. I feel that this horse might be able to just get into the race if he sits close like his last few lines show he may do in this race. He draws a good enough spot to try and get a stalking trip. It's just a matter of how good is the horse. The horse could be good, the horse could not be good. I'm only working with the information I have, and that's the best that I can come up with that race. I'm 1-3-4 in that leg. Final leg then is race number 5. Numbers of 4,500 in their last 4 starts. And Rod, to the outside, you have a mare like Capital Trip dropping from the opens. Capital Hill dropping from a class such as the opens. Now that, to me, a novice pick 4 player even, it looks like the kind of race where you try and beat the 7.
I don't know you try to beat her. You know, this is a very tough race just because she's dropping and she draws outside. So if she drew inside, I would say she's a single, no problem. She's better than these horses, like legit better than these. She beat these 3 starts ago and then had to go into the open. So, I think her form is good enough to warrant if you need to single her. I'm going to use one other horse, and that is the 5 Sing-Along. And this horse last week got shuffled, got stuck behind a dead horse in the claiming ranks, and came back to finish 3rd. And, I thought raced very well there. Just needs to be up close. Her trip is either on the lead or the 2-hole. If she's right up there early on, I think she's got a shot. She's going to be decent odds, and Nick Rowland jumps on a drive, so I'm going to use her as well. So I'm just 5-7 there.
Oh, wow. If only Mike's ticket could be that simple.
It's pretty simple. I agree on the 7. I'm using one other horse, but not the 5. It's the 3, La Diva de Rosa.
How many times have I used that horse?
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah. Only 2 for 28 this year, but 11 other shares. Figures to get the front in here, which is another reason why that I'm using. And, a sloppy track is no issue for this one. 3 wins and 20 lifetime starts. Bag post 2 back, no chance. Then was in the Open twice in a row. Prior checks at this level, July 7th or July 9th, July 2nd. This horse fits in this race. Is going to be a decent price. Should get an up close trip. I'll try that one as a substitute for the favorite. So 3-7.
I want to give an update real quick. Darren just texted me and he just put it on the feed as well. They're about 10 minutes from the start. They have a qualifier, a non-betting race, and then they're going right to the first race.
Okay.
Okay.
They had a little bit of a weather delay, so they're back. They're a little bit behind schedule, but they'll catch back up. They're going to run the race pretty quick tonight.
But are they using sulkies or rafts tonight?
They might be using kayaks.
Oh, then we could expect some fast miles from these. Maybe even in this 5th race. I'm in agreement with La Diva de Rosa, Mike. I particularly like the fact that she has all of those lines where she sat off the speed, and then all of a sudden they decided to put her up to the front. That definitely shows that this horse could have some form coming into this race, similar to when she was going first over against this company back on July 9th, and then had to move up into the Open ranks where she was clearly outclassed. So if she shows that sort of speed here, she could definitely be a factor on the off-going, as could Sing-Along, so long as she's just at least placed up close. Now, you'd never want to be caught behind a dead horse. You especially don't want to beat one, but getting caught behind one, I think, is somewhere within the same wheelhouse. And Sing-Along might be within the wheelhouse of whoever's on the lead, enough to get into the race at some sort of a price. And if not, Rockin' Around Heaven comes in off a decent race against claimers, drops the claiming tag here. Looking back June 25th, she won against the won against the company below this, beat Capitol Hill, going first over at odds of 11-1, and has since just raced against claimers for some reason, up for sale. But the fact that they take her off sale now, they remove the claiming tag, shows some sort of confidence. So I'm 3-4-5 in the last leg of this pick 4 to make my ticket go as follows. For 50 cents, I am 4-5-6 with 3, with 1-3-4, with 3-4-5. That's $13.50 for 50 cents. Mike, your ticket.
It's 4-5-6-7 with 1-3, with 1-3-7, with 3-7, and I might throw the 4 in there because I liked what you said about that horse in the last. So 3-4-7 in the last makes it 36.
Rod, your ticket.
4-6 with 1-3 with 5-7. It is $24 after the scratch.
And with all of that said, that does it for this edition of the NAHU X. Catch at least.
Oh, and Darren said they're using canoes.
Oh, they're using then it's gonna be night then. It's like when you watch those Italian races, how everyone's hooked up to their groin in the sulky. That's a tight fit. That's a tight fit. Speaking of tight fits, I'll be live.
That's what you said.
On North American Harness Update this Friday at 9 p.m. along with Michael Prebosi and maybe Rod Allums Jr. if he so chooses to show up. But
maybe.
The downside is currently this camera is drawing ever closer to my face, and at a certain point, it's just going to hit me. So I better sign off now. I have been Ray Catolo. He's Mike Prebosi, Rod Allums Jr.
Bang, bang.
It burns! It burns!
Bang, bang.